Gqubule-Mbeki, very good afternoon to you. So the issue of funding for students is not a new one, especially in the democratic dispensation. We've been seeing as far back and beyond 2005, 186 incidents across the country of students protesting around issues of education. What is triggering these particular protests this year?
Basically, Nzinga, it's budget cuts. And today's protest took place against the backdrop of a meeting in Parliament where the Appropriations Committee was being briefed by the National Treasury, and a number of societies and organizations and labor unions and NGOs have issued a statement saying that the budget cuts to education, higher education in particular, but even to basic education, health and other social services, is unconstitutional. And they are calling on the government and they're calling on the MPs who gathered in the morning to send the bill packing back to National Treasury to be brought in line with the Constitution. They say that the austerity is going to cause social and civil instability in the country and give rise to rage. And as you were saying, Nzinga, the issue of the fees must fall struggle burst onto the streets somewhere in 2015. And in 2015 and 2016, we saw many attempts to intervene by parents, by eminent person groups, and by university leaders, and by the state itself. But this is a problem that just won't go away.
We saw an announcement yesterday that the National Student Financial Aid Scheme is unable to confirm funding for first-year university students. That's due to the scheme's financial shortfalls from the 2021 academic year. That's an article from online, and obviously that's also triggering what's taking place because students are not able to register because of historical debts, and first-year students who are seeking their entry into institutions of higher learning are now unsure about what's going to happen with regards to NFSAS.
Yes, and disturbing are the reports of irregular expenditure at NFSAS running into the hundreds of millions. I understand that is somewhere in the region of 800 million that irregular expenditure was discovered there. The cry of the excluded is going to end up in a discussion in Parliament very soon. You'll remember, Nzinga, that there was a debate tabled by Mr. Julius Malema, the leader of the EFF, way back in 2015, I believe, on the issue of the funding of higher education. This is part of the austerity drive and the fiscal consolidation. Now, part of the discussion that happened this morning in Parliament was about the fiscal ceiling, and MPs were asked to comment on the Division of Revenue Bill or the Allocation of Revenue Bill, and that must have been a very interesting discussion. Also happening today was a meeting of Cabinet. Cabinet must have stood still to take in for a moment the scenes from Braamfontein as the children of the electorate made their voices and cried out in rage, known on the streets, and asking for inclusion, asking to be included and registered this year for the academic year. And we know that NFSAS has actually declared a list of subjects and courses that they will no longer fund, putting many students in a very, very difficult position.
We are now going to go back to the live visual